I couldn't want another life. Tending fields and mulberries, it's my true calling. I've never failed it, and still, against hunger and cold, there is only hull and chaff. I never wanted more than a full stomach. All I have asked is a little rice, heavy clothes for winter, and open weaves for summer heat. But I haven't even managed that. Oh, all this grief cuts deep, and character is fate. If you're simple-minded, life's ways elude you. Before we come to the page, before the first word is ever written down or read or listened to, there is a longing to connect. My name is Charlie Mehrhoff, your host here at Before the Page, a podcast featuring poetry, parable, fiction, and non, words to echo our longing. There is no threaded theme to this episode. Perhaps your takeaway will be a simple question. What is essential? What are the fundamental needs of a human being? We begin with a parable composed by Sheikh Farid Din Attar of Nishapur, Persia, today's Iran. In 1221 Common Era, Attar, in his old age, was killed when the Mongols invaded. This parable has been brought into the English by Idries Shah in his seminal compilation, The Way of the Sufi. And here is the miser and the angel of death. A miser had accumulated by effort, trade, and lending 300,000 dinars. He had lands and buildings and all kinds of wealth. He then decided that he would spend a year in enjoyment, living comfortably, and then decide as to what his future should be. But almost as soon as he had stopped amassing money, the angel of death appeared before him to take his life away. The miser tried, by every argument which he could muster, to dissuade the angel, who seemed, however, adamant. Then the man said, "Grant me but 3 more days, and I will give you 1/3 of my possessions." The angel refused and pulled again at the miser's life, tugging to take it away. Then the man said, "If you will only allow me 2 more days on earth, I will give you 200,000 dinars from my store." But the angel would not listen to him, and the angel even refused to give the man a solitary extra day for all his 300,000 pieces. Then the miser said, "Please, then, give me just time enough to write one little thing down." This time the angel allowed him this single concession, and the man wrote with his own blood, "Man, make use of your life. I could buy not 1 hour for 300,000 dinars. Make sure that you realize the value of your time." Born into the aristocracy, Dao Uwan Ming lived in the years 365 to 427 in this common era. Going against the tradition of the upper class, he left government service to embrace a life of poverty and hardship, becoming a reclusive farmer. Dao Uwandming changed his name to Dao She'en. She'en meaning concealed, hidden. He was also wise, calm, confident, and quiet. He is revered today as the grandfather of the Chinese poetic tradition. Dao She'en's life across the century inspired many of China's great artists, especially poets. Often, the most potent way to criticize the government is to remove oneself altogether from politics, to live deliberately with quiet honor. There is a sublime book, Classical Chinese Poetry, an anthology, translated and edited by David Hinton. It's from David's translations that you will hear from Dao She'en today. We'll begin with the second poem from Home Again Among Fields and Gardens. So little here beyond involves people. Visitors to my meager lane rare, thorn bramble gate closed all day. This empty home cuts dust-filled thoughts short, and day after day, coming and going on overgrown paths, I meet neighbors without confusion. We only talk about how the crops are doing, nothing more. Mine grow taller each day, and I open more fields, but I can't stop worrying. Come frost or sleet, and it's all tatters, torn down like so much tangled brush. This is the fourth poem from Home Again Among Fields and Gardens. Years never walking mountains and lakes, gone, elated again among forests and fields. I take our children by the hand and set out through woods and abandoned farmlands. Soon we are walking around aimlessly amid grave mounds and houses deserted long ago. Their wells and kitchen stoves still standing among broken down bamboo and mulberry. Someone is out gathering firewood, so I ask where these people, all these people, went. Turning toward me, he says, "Nothing's left once you're dead and gone, nothing. Wait a single generation and, court or market, every last face is new." It is true, of course. Life's own mirage of change, and it ends, returned into all empty absence. What else? And this is the third poem from Dao She'en's collection, Drinking Wine. Ways been runes 1,000 years. People all hoard their hearts away. So busy scrambling after esteemed position, they'd never touch wine. But whatever makes living precious occurs in this one life, and this life never lasts. It's startling, sudden as lightning, 100 years offering all abundance. Take it. What more could you hope to make of yourself? This is poem 5 from Drinking Wine. I live here in this busy village without all that racket horses and carts stir up. And you wonder how that could ever be. Wherever the mind dwells apart is itself a distant place. Picking chrysanthemums at my east fence, I see South Mountain far off, air lovely at dusk, birds in flight going home. All this means something, something absolute. Whenever I start to explain it, I forget words altogether. This is poem 15 from Drinking Wine. Old, too poor to hire help, we watch wild tangles of brush take over our house. Bitter silence, birds drifting, clear skies and isolate silence. No sign of others. Time and space go on forever, but who lives even to 100? Months and years tighten, bustling each other away, and my hair had gone white long ago. If we don't give up failure and success, that promise we hold just turns to regret. This piece has no title. I couldn't want another life, tending fields and mulberries. It's my true calling. I've never failed it, and still against hunger and cold, there is only hull and chaff. I never wanted more than a full stomach. All I've asked is a little rice, heavy clothes for winter, and open weaves for summer heat. But I haven't even managed that. Oh, all this grief cuts deep, and character is fate. If your simple-minded life's ways elude you, it's the inner pattern. No one's likely to change it, but then I delight in even a single drop of wine. Dao Shan called this piece of prose Peach Blossom Spring. During the great origin years of the Shin dynasty, there was a man at Warrior Knoll who caught fish for a living. One day he went up a stream and soon didn't know how far he'd gone. Suddenly, he came upon a peach orchard in full bloom. For hundreds of feet, there was nothing but peach trees crowding in over the banks. And in the confusion of fallen petals, there were lovely scented flowers. The fisherman was amazed, wanting to see how far the orchard went. He continued on. The trees ended at the foot of a mountain, where a spring fed the stream from a small cave. It seems as if there might be a light inside, so the fisherman left his boat and stepped in. At first, the cave was so narrow he could barely squeeze through. But he kept going, and after a few dozen feet, it opened out into broad daylight. There, on a plain stretching away, austere houses were graced with fine fields and lovely ponds. Dikes and paths crossed here and there among mulberries and bamboo. Roosters and dogs called back and forth. Coming and going in the midst of all this, there were men and women tending the fields. Their clothes were just like those worn by people outside. And whether they were old with white hair or children in pigtails, they were all happy and of themselves content. When they saw the fisherman, they were terribly surprised and asked where he had come from. Once he had answered all their questions, they insisted on taking him back home. And soon they had set out wine and killed chickens for dinner. When the others in the village heard about this man, they all came to ask about him. They told him how, long ago, to escape those years of turmoil during the Shan dynasty, the village ancestors gathered their wives and children, and with their neighbors came to this distant place. They'd kept themselves cut off from the people outside ever since. So now they wondered what dynasty it was. They'd never heard of the Han, let alone Wei or Shin. As the fisherman carefully told them everything he knew, they all sighed in sad amazement. each of the village families in turn invited him to their house, where they also served wine and food. After staying for some days, the fisherman prepared to leave these people. As he was going, they said, "There's no need to tell the people outside." He returned to his boat and started back, careful to remember each place along the way. When he got back home, he went to tell the prefect what had happened. The prefect sent some men to retrace the route, but they were soon lost and finally gave up the search. Lao Tzu, who lived in Nanyang, was a recluse of great honor and esteem. When he heard about this place, he joyfully prepared to go there. But before he could, he got sick and passed away. Since then, no one's asked the way. So now we will come to close this episode of Before the Page with an untitled piece composed by the reader. Increase everyone's ration of love. Dream forests, dream fields, dream great galactic skyships. Fill those ships with seeds, with seedlings. Launch fields, launch forests. Realize the need for starshine, for wholesome air, for rain. And remember to keep your hands clean. The call to prayer remains constant. Well, thank you all once again for listening to an episode of Before the Page. If you would like to reach out to us, it's easy enough. Go to beforethepage@gmail.com. Spell just how it sounds, beforethepage@gmail.com. Until the next, be well.